Alright guys, the time is now for a showdown between the Tomb Kings, who are going to be led by Ark in the Black, and the Warriors of Chaos, who are going to be led by Kolek Suneater. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So here in the front line, we do have a couple of groups of the Tomb Guard with halberds. Definitely not a bad choice. Yes, they're going to probably lose the most Chaos Infantry, but they do have some armor-piercing values, so at least they're going to put some damage back on the Warriors of Chaos, and if they bring Shaggoths and some of the big spooky Chaos monsters, these guys can definitely do a pretty good job against those. So I feel like they're a relatively well-rounded choice. They have high melee defense they can hold for a long time, which is really going to allow your secondary line, which consists of the Ushabti Great Bows and the Titans, and could be like Khemrian War Sphinx, any other big Tomb King monster. But they hold for a long time, which really allows your backline to get some value. Here in the center, we do have the King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion, another pretty good choice. They do have high melee defense. I don't know, for some reason I always thought they were regenerated, but I don't think they do. It looks like they just have poison as well as. It's definitely a solid, cheap unit in the front line here. Typically, I think it's a little bit better in the back line, but we're just trying to hold for as long as we possibly can in the front against the Chaos Onslaught to allow our Ushabti Great Bows to do the heavy lifting. So we do have two of the Great Bows here. One of them is going to be the Chosen of the Gods, and the other one is just going to be a standard one, obviously, because you don't have any other choices. But these guys are going to be taking out the Shaggoths, and, eventually we'll be putting some work in on the infantry. Also really good against skirmishing. So if the Warriors of Chaos are going to bring Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes, which are also very common, typically what you see is a build very much like this, actually. You see a bunch of Chaos Warriors in the front line. You don't need the armor-piercing Great Weapon Chaos Warriors. You just bring the standard variant with the shields. They're very durable. They're just going to grind down most of those Tomb King's infantry and really open up the back line for some of the big monsters like Kolek and stuff like that. But regardless, the Chosen of the Gods and the Ushabti in general, very good against the throwing axes. So, before the Chaos Warriors get to you, you can definitely do quite a bit of damage to these guys. And you can see the first few volleys are coming in there. In the back, we do have a Tomb Prince, and he's going to be accompanying Ark in the Black. Arkin definitely probably the best choice in the Chaos matchup, in my opinion. You can use Cetra on a horse because Cetra actually does have anti-large, and there's actually a pretty substantial storm or wind, some sort of shenanigans outside, so you guys might be able to hear that. But Ark in the Black is a good choice. He has Spirit Leech, he has Fate of Buna. Spirit Leech is really good against Shaggoths. They're so tough to take down, so having that really helps quite a bit. Fate of Buna is good against Chosen if they go Elite. Now, like I was saying before, Cetra can be a pretty good choice because Cetra does have anti-large as well. So if you want to go with Lord of Nakara, it works, but I do think that Arkin is a little bit better. He does also have the Tomb Blade of Arkin to summon skeletons just to give you some buffering. Just a solid Lord in general. Tomb Prince, of course, anti-large, armor piercing, a very good kind of sidekick here to Arkin to go after the Shaggoths. And that's pretty much it. A very defensive force. We have a couple groups of Carrion, also some Nehekara Warriors, or Nehekara Horsemen. We're going to be chasing down the Marauder Horsemen here. They do have shields, I think. Yes, that's going to be pretty nice against these skirmishers. And that's pretty much it for my force. For my opponent, two groups of Marauders with throwing axes, Marauder Horsemen, two groups of the standard variant, which are going to be okay at dealing with the Carrion and things like that. Entire front line of Chaos Warriors with these with the shields, of course. They're not going to be going for the great weapons. You don't really need that in my opinion. He does have Kolek as well as another Shaggoth, which I think is the most competitive kit. If you're playing Chaos, you can use Warp Chicken, you can use like a Dragon, but I really think that the double Shaggoth is just the way to go. I also forgot to mention, I do have a Titan. So this build, I think, is very good against Chaos. So one thing that is not competitive here and that I just kind of brought for fun was the Iroh Titan. It's not like, I wouldn't recommend it if you're trying to win a tournament or you're up against like a really high-level player, but it still is fun and it does have Spirit Leech. I would probably go with like a Necro Sphinx or something because he is just so slow. It's really annoying. You can't really catch the Shaggoths. So Shaggoths, Chaos Warriors, he does have throwing axes. Two groups of those, two groups of the standard variant. It looks like he does have a Shadowcaster on the back, which is always pretty good. And some Marauders on the flanks. So without further ado, let's get the show on the road. So right now I'm going to be rushing forward a little bit, seeing if I can get some freebies on Kolek here, but of course he's a little bit scary. So we're going to be shooting him with the Ushabti Great Bows. You can see he actually takes some damage right out of the gates. We also summon some Skeleton Warriors, and this is a pretty good tactic to just disrupt the charges, because it's going to muck up these Chaos Warriors, and you can see the Spirit Leech is going down, which I believe was from the Iroh Titan, which is pretty cool with Arkin. It gives you that extra burst. So that is kind of the one advantage of the Titan. We're also going to be engaging the Titan in the front line, the King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion, and the Tomb Guards. You might as well charge, because again, they only have charge defense against large, so you might as well charge against anything that's not, a big target. It looks like the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth is going to be coming back here to go after Arkin. I do pop the Libra Mortis to give that damage resistance. This is a pretty good situation. I have a Tomb Prince with the Tomb Strike, Prison shanking him in the back, doing a little bit of good damage, and it looks like the Halberds are going to be able to fend him off. So not a bad situation so far. The Iroh Titan is fighting in the front line. Looks like we might have some Kaiju battles going on. I wonder who would win between the Dragon Ogre. I feel like the Dragon Ogre would probably win because of his bonus versus large, and I feel like his attack rates are a little bit better as well. The Titan looks really, really cool. Anyways, it's going to be fighting in the front line. It could eventually actually tear out these Chaos Warriors. That's a pretty nice little gift as well. And it looks like my opponent is going to be wrapping around my flanks very heavily. So he does try and get through with the Dragon Ogre again, So we get Ark in the Black, who's just being like pile drived into the back line here, but we're getting a ton of damage on this Dragon Ogre. And Kolek is able to club a couple of my Chosen of the Gods. It looks like he does take out 2 models, which is tough. So at this point, I kind of have to pull my spears, which I had in auxiliary, and have them intercept these Marauder Horsemen, but it's going to be a good situation. They're coming in, they're going to have to fall back. They don't really get anything in return. And the Nehekar Horsemen, who are on a bit of a crusade over here, actually chased these guys at the edge of the map, but took a lot of damage in the cause there, are going to be chasing them down and able to disrupt. So we formed a new battle line. Essentially, this part of the battlefield kind of got compromised by the Shaggy, so I had to fall back and form kind of a new position here. My opponent does have a much wider force, so you can see that the Chaos Marauders on the flank here are going to be pushing in, definitely putting some pressure on my Ushabti Great Bows. Bit of a tough situation. However, we do have these Shaggoths very, very low. You can see that this one's low. Kolek's getting pretty beat up from the Great Bow fire. And right now, the Tomb Prince and Arkan are going to be going in on this Dragon Ogre, potentially doing some good damage. My opponent does use a Scroll of Shielding from his caster, which is very nice. Going to do 22% ward save, not bad at all. He does also have some Chariots, which I totally forgot about. I didn't even see them. He probably like had them hidden in the deployment here. Anyways, the Chariots take quite a bit of damage, but again, the Shaggoths come in and they get that goon, just straight up gooning on that Tomb Prince, doing massive damage. I do respond with the Spirit Leech on Kolek. We still have that Ushabti Great Bow fire right here, but again, the Marauders in the back line have gotten here. I do have some Skeleton Spears, I think. It looks like there's like a couple of them. They're like strung out. I think the rest of them are like over here. How's that happening? That's kind of weird. Anyways, to save my Ushabti Great Bows in the back line, I do use my Ushabti Summon, which is going to be good. They should be able to beat these Chaos Marauders and put them down pretty handily. And we do also break off Kolek. So I did lose my Tomb Prince. He actually went down to the double beatings that was going on here with Kolek and the other Shaggoth. But we're able to get Kolek, and he's most likely going to run off the battlefield, considering we are pretty close here. So you can see Kolek's going to be scurrying for the hills here, which is really good. And now Ark in the Black is going to be trying to get this other Shaggoth. Granted, he's getting a lot of damage on my Ushabti here, which is tough. But these Skeleton Spears and Summon Ushabti are definitely holding the line here, definitely doing a great job. Over here in the front line, the Iron Titan is still trying to help out. And look at this, the Chaos Warriors, or Tomb Guard with Halberds, actually did a really good job at kind of putting a dent in these Chaos Warriors. That's why I think they're probably one of the more ideal picks in this matchup. They're going to do well against most Chaos Infantry. The one that they might actually struggle against would maybe be like Forsaken or something like that. But for the most part, doing a really, really solid job. And the Titan's going to be marching in. That was also a mistake. I think I should have just kept the Titan in the back. I mean, he did a little damage in the front line. Let's go ahead and take a look at his kills. He does have 9 kills. Wow, very impressive. But we should have kept him in the front, or in the back here, just to kind of protect and help in the Kaiju fights. Anyways, we do get another Spirit Leech on this Dragon Ogre with Arkan, but the Deathcaster, or the Shadowcaster, actually charges in as well. Probably going to use Melkoth and Enfeebling Foe. So now I'm pretty slow. I only have 58 speed. The Shadowcaster, of course, is going to be doing some okay damage. Chaos Casters aren't really pushovers. They actually have okay stats. They have good armor values. And Arkan is able to trample that warrior right there. But the other Shaggoth actually does go down to the Ushabti Great Bow Overwatch, which I was quite happy about. So the backline position, relatively secure. Bounce of power is still really even, though. He has a lot of infantry left. He has an entire wave of Chaos Warriors, 72. They just made absolute mincemeat out of those spears on the flanks. The Halberds, though, trading pretty efficiently with the Chaos Warriors. King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion have been taking beatings and getting run over by chariots, and oh no, here comes a chariot charge. Rear charge from my opponent coming right into the back, and you can see that these Tomb Guard, that's probably going to be all she wrote. I mean, they held for a long time against the Chaos Warriors, but yeah, they're not going to be able to do much against like a heavy chariot charge in the back, and you can see they're going to be crumbling and critical binding very, very quickly here, so that's not fun. Regardless, we are trying to form a new rank. We're falling back with the Great Bows, trying to get any fire we can. He doesn't have any more big targets, though. He just has the chariots. We will be taking some pot shots at. There's a couple Marauder Horsemen as well who were able to screen out a little bit with the Skeleton Spears, and it looks like these Chaos Warriors and Marauders who were harassing my back line are pretty much offline here. So I do still have the Titan. Titan's laying a bit of a smackdown on these Chaos Warriors, and he's up to a whopping 19 kills, so definitely paying his dues, kind of, sort of, not really, but you know what? He's having some fun, and here comes a Shem's Burning Gaze. We're going to be blasting this Sorcerer. So let's see how much damage. It's like the 4th time I've cast it. He casts it so slow. Oh, that was actually a Spirit Leech. So I thought I used his Spirit Leech earlier, but I guess I didn't. So very, very good stuff there. We're able to hit that Chaos Sorcerer. And in the back line, Ark in the Black is trying to fend off the chariots and keep them off the Ushabti. Granted, the Ushabti could probably do that themselves. My opponent with another very good charge into the back of the Skeleton Warriors that Arkan did summon. And this was a bit of a mistake as well. Ark in the Black, like, he still has a ton of spells. I have Winds of Magic. I shouldn't be sending him into melee like this. It really opens him up to take some damage from the Sorcerer as well as the Chaos Infantry. So that was a bit of a mistake. I do pop the Liber Mortis, and Enfeebling Foe is going to be going down for my opponent as well, which is going to be quite good. 26 melee attack, 26 melee defense. And just to kind of protect Arkan, I tried to do a big screen with the Ushabti and just charge them in, but unfortunately his Sorcerer did get through. Ark in the Black is probably going to be he might get trash canned right here. We're not 100% sure. The Titan's coming back as well, so I kind of knew that it was all or nothing right now. I just had to kind of rely on my Titan to carry the game and tear out the Chaos Infantry. And you can see the Titan's trying to come back here. He's trying to get on the Sorcerer. Ark in the Black is holding. He does have 500 HP, but that enfeebling foe making his stats very, very poor. And that's where, like, the Necro Sphinx, for example, he could have just zipped across the battlefield. He's fast, he has really good mass, whereas the Titan has to, like, waddle, and I think that's why he's kind of not a great unit in general. But it looks really damn cool when he uses those laser eye abilities. We do actually break off the Chaos Sorcerer, which is pretty nice, but Ark in the Black has taken some mortal wounds, and he's going to be actually falling to the Hordes of Sirtha Ek. So now we got the Titan. Titan is going to be taking some spears. Aside from that, I mean, the bounce power is like dead even, right? Because I have this massive Titan. I have a couple of Ushabti here, which are trying to kite. But again, he does have horsemen with spears, and the Chaos Warriors are so durable. They have that high melee defense. Granted, their shields don't help them against the Ushabti Great Bow Fire, but yeah, he still has a lot of mobile threats here that can chase me down. So the Titan here is going to be using Shem's Burning Gaze. We try and blast him. It looks like it was a little bit of a swing and a miss. It actually did waver him, but the Titan is just straight up surrounded here. Kind of like the Barbarian Lord in the Gladiator movie when he's like being just shanked by all the Romans. It's kind of like the same situation. But it looks really cool when he clubs those guys. But yeah, the Necro Sphinx would have been a way better pick. It would have given me a ton of utility against like the Chaggits. Honestly, and I feel like, you know, the Titan is meant against like infantry and frontline fights, but I feel like the Necro Sphinx still does better and more damage, even though it's like meant versus large units. But I guess you get the Spirit Leech and the Shem's Burning Gaze. Plus, the other thing that you are paying for when you bring the Iron Titan is the Covenant of Power. A lot of people don't know this. Let's go ahead and take a look. So it does give you power reserves as well as recharge rate, which is really, really good with Ark in the Black. So right now, the Titan just fighting here. The Ushabti Great Bows are fighting as well, but they're getting worn down. Other one is going to be crumbling. So it's mainly just going to be Big Papa Titan here, trying to get that caster, but again, not fast enough. The Titan is just going to be using its laser eyes and stomping some of these Chaos Warriors. And yeah, definitely just incredibly cool looking unit here. He's going to be slapping up some of these guys, and let's see if he uses his bells. Yeah, he's going to be slapping them with the bells. He's got his laser eyes. He's got all kinds of tools. But alas, he is going to be crumbling due to army losses. That's going to be pretty much it. Well played to my opponent. Very, very fun game, and I think it was two pretty competitive builds. The one thing that you don't see terribly often are the chariots here, but I think chariots are kind of like an unsung, I wouldn't say hero, but an unsung option in the matchup versus the Tomb Kings, because they're really good at just rear charging and breaking like just chaffy skeleton infantry. So if I had to change anything, I actually just brought this build on the last stream, so it was the King of the Hill stream. So some of you guys may have seen this game, but I figured it was worth casting again, just kind of as a solo focus. But the one thing I would change is just the Titan. I honestly think he lost me the game. If I had, you know, a big unit that was mobile, I kept trying to get the Titan back. He kept getting bogged up, or his AI, his orders would change, and he would start attacking the infantry again as he was being attacked. I think if I just had, you know, the big Necro Sphinx or something, just help just destroy the Chaggits even more. Because again, we took them out really quick. Like those guys got taken to Pound Town by Arkin and the Prince, as well as the Ushabti Great Bows. But I think if we had the Sphinx just to kind of bounce back and forth between the Chaggits and the front line and the caster, we would have been in pretty good shape. But regardless, I really like the build for my opponent. Chaos Warriors in the front line, super solid. Double Chaggith gives you plenty of answers against big constructs. And yeah, throwing axes are really good. The standard Marauder Horsemen are probably the one thing I wouldn't bring, but I still think they did okay this game. They were annoying, they were pressuring the back line, and just kind of a sticky, cheap unit. So very well played to my opponent, the Professional Moose, who I think actually goes by the name Zero. Look forward to running into you again. Well, this wasn't ladder, but hopefully we'll get to play again someday. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this Tomb King vs. Chaos Showdown. Have an excellent night, guys, and take care.